Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your mid-July reading. That heat wave took me out. I've spent days just not being able to think straight. It was just too hot for me. But here we are. And until about tomorrow, it's all how it was last month. But tomorrow you start to feel this push. Let's call it a burst of energy. Maybe you're planning for a trip. Maybe you suddenly feel the urge to start looking at tickets. Maybe you want to study something different. You suddenly need a departure of some sort. And whatever trip you're going on next should be very eventful. But I think you know that too. You have like a feeling about it. When you have this Two of Wands energy, and there are many reasons astrologically that that's happening, it's easy for you to be too insistent. And I get it. You have a plan in your head. And now you want to see it through. That's normal. That's just what anyone who wants to hit their target would do. But what happens a lot of the time is that you run into people who pretend that they have a target to hit. But really, they just like having that target somewhere out there in the distance as this unattainable thing, and somehow not being able to get there keeps them going. You don't understand this. You're not based on the same accomplishment driven. You hit the mark because you can. Let me pick up these cards. The Emperor, we're talking about this Mars energy in Leo, and even more forward drive. Bottom of the deck is the World, and then there's that rebirth. You have ventured out, either emotionally, physically. You have taken the plunge, and I think you like it. And I think you want to do this more and more. You feel some freedom, some realization has brought you freedom, that it's not your fault if others can't hit the mark like you can, or at the speed that you can, and that you don't need to slow down, and that they don't need to catch up to you. This is not a race between you and your loved ones. They can move at whatever pace they want. That's freeing for two reasons. One, because you have this burst of energy and you want to go fast and you want to reinvent. You're ready again. Good for you. And two, because everyone should be allowed their own speed. And sometimes when you start going fast and you start realizing things quickly, you want everybody to jump onto, go at your gallop, and they can't. So it's also to spare their feelings. Now, this forward push, it's not just in terms of your physicality, it's not just in terms of your emotional life or your broadening your horizons. It's also a lot about your work. Not that you're necessarily doing something different. You just seem to be doing it better. Many of you may feel like you've been waking up smarter, or waking up with some really good ideas. And I think this has everything to do with trusting the mind. You've reached a very comfortable agreement with your mind, where it works the way you want it to work, and it performs and it produces. And you have this balance between that and having fun and letting it just wander and be creative, or at the very least be free. And it works. It works really, really well. And one of the things that happens when you have this mind body simpatico going on, this alignment, is that you are in a constant stream of evolution. You're always getting better. You're always getting prettier. You're always getting smarter, more handsome, more in shape. There's no shame in a Sagittarian's constant glow up game. And wherever you start to feel like you're doubting that, like it's somehow shameful for you to admit that you need to make progress somewhere, you need to check that right away, because that's very destructive for you. Admitting where there needs to be something better or something needs to be tweaked, there's nothing wrong with that. And you've never been the type to shame yourself for it. So whatever this is a nerve. And while I appreciate that, it's something that you need to eradicate. You can't second guess your evolution or your healing. Nothing is more important. Nothing. Now I'm trying to think what it could be, but I can't think of anything. Now, if you're having second thoughts or just cold feet about this overhaul in image or this bold step at work or, having to do with your studies, and you're doubting it, don't. There's a lot of good luck in that decision, and mainly because you'll be in contact with a lot of people. And I think you need that. It's good for you. It feeds you. It keeps you full up on fresh material. I don't mean that to be shady, but I can hear how it sounds. Ha ha ha. Come on. We're friends here. All right. Let's keep going. Let me see what I have written down here. Hey, tie things up before Mercury moves into Cancer. Well, really tie things up when Mercury moves into Cancer. Because there's just so many small legal obligations, deadlines, bills to pay. There's all kinds of things that can add up to a huge headache, and namely legal headache, that can be avoided by just taking care of all the deadlines and all the send this back and all the returns and all the fill this out online. Do it all, let's say July 21st onward, just those 10 days, get it done. Just make a commitment to yourself. Make a little pile on a desk or make a list on your phone. These are all the things that I've been putting off in terms of paperwork or bills or, right, all the stuff I mentioned. And just get her done. Now, next up, we have this 8 of Pentacles, and you have been working and it is paying off and it will continue to pay off. And there is a stability about this flow of abundance that's very nice. And it's great for everyone around you because it puts you in such a relaxed pace. The world is opening back up, but even if your work has nothing to do with the world, you feel the life energy come back into all the people that you deal with. And while you may not have personally needed it because you are so good at making your own fun and generating your own energy, it is nice to see everybody around you start to live again. They may critique you, especially this month moving into August now, for working too much. And that's a choice you're going to have to make. I find that once Sagittarians get into a really good flow, where the more they work, the more they earn, that beautiful, balanced situation, it's hard for you to stop. Or, it may be time to put some boundaries on yourself and say, from this moment on, regardless, I'm not working. Something. But other than that, it's a very positive month. There are, of course, days like today where everyone wants to reveal their secrets, namely by lying, and lying in such transparent ways that you can just see through them, and you're just like, why? This is telling me so much more about you than I want to know. Of course, there are days like this because it is Cancer season, and then we move into this season of bravado where the ways in which people overcompensate in Leo season really does say so much more about them than anything they could ever tell you. It's great for that side of you that's always kind of cataloging and processing information and going to use it later in whatever profession you're in. So, have fun, observe, but whenever you start to feel yourself really in it, and I don't mean just between you and yourself. If it's between you and your work, great. But once you start to feel yourself really in it and pushing forward something that has to do with other people, just take a second, take a breath, stop and step back and just see if these people even want you to be the pusher that you're being, because ultimately what happens in those situations and what you may have happen now is that you get your feelings hurt because you're doing so much, and then people aren't in any way, not only are they not appreciating it, they're kind of acting like you're being pushy towards them, when all you're really trying to do is just get things moving because things need to be done. But even though you are in the right, you may get your feelings hurt. So whenever you feel yourself start to get insistent, start to lose your temper, start to kind of push, the tide, just remember the season that you're in. Everyone will take it personally. Everyone will see it as you specifically, saying something to them. Your energy will be seen as a judgment. And although, again, none of that is true, Cancer season does bring out the side of us where we see things as being indicative of other things. We see things kind of sideways. The logic is sideways. And you, straight arrow, you get to the point, you is like, what is this sideways logic and why is everybody being bizarre? This is why. Oh, and if you're harboring, I'm trying not to bring this up, but then I'm also going to bring it up because if you're harboring or holding on to something still, some hurt, some slight, some person, you're still like, and you just go back and forth, I would just like to be one of many people in your life to point out that this is a complete waste of time and energy. And you're too smart and too special to be doing it. Okay, love you. Bye. Hi, Sagittarius. Welcome to the second part of your reading. That 2 of Wands and 3 of Wands. You're so much more vulnerable in situations that put you at a little bit of a distance. I think having people slightly away from you actually brings them a lot closer because it gives you room to like them without feeling perhaps suffocated by them. Now that vulnerability is of course amped up by Venus and Mars being in Leo. Mars in Leo especially gives you such a boost, a mind boost, that it can be easy to forget that others have ideas and also should be heard. So if you find yourself insisting terribly from now until mid-August and being intractable, being stubborn, just remember that actually this is just that Mars in Leo energy, and you would be so much better off not insisting. There are wonderful bridges that can be built other bridges that can be mended. And all it requires from you is a level head. Now, at any given time, that's an easy sell. But in July, not so much. It's not that you want to fight. Let's say you want to debate. But you want to debate and you want to be right. You want to be right, and for the most part you are right, but you can't stop telling people how right you are. Now, a big part of this is then being very impulsive, because you're so sure that you're right. So there are many ways to walk into this death rebirth cycle, and ass backwards is one of them. And when you are completely sure that you are right, that's generally when you walk into them backwards. And here you see that Scorpio energy swoop in and change things around. A lot of that redirection, right, whatever you want to call it, restructuring, rebuilding, a lot of it has to do with tying up loose ends. A lot of it has to do with addressing that which is on your mind, Two of Swords, but you don't seem to get around to getting it done. July is the month of all of those things that you talk about or think about that you need to get done, that you want to get done, that you wish you had. You're moving on all of them, you're acting on them, you're bringing them into reality, you're fixing them. Mercury in Cancer wants the same thing. It wants you to tie up all the loose ends. It wants you to get all your business affairs in order, pay your taxes, etc. Now, the reading really starts on the 21st, okay, because that's when you have this huge boost of luck and money. The Lovers, Queen of Swords, everybody is listening, everybody is impressed. You kind of forget the month. You forget the first 20 days when you get to the 21st, because things start to go so well and everything just seems to move in your direction. Now, this is a great time, again, to take care of any debts, right? Make any investments that you want to make. But also, it's a great time to restructure the settings, the mental settings, the self-image settings. You should be able to tell by late July that you have moved up when it comes to work and how much you earn, or how people see you, or how you see yourself. Whatever your particular measure is of making it, you feel that you have moved up a notch and are therefore closer to your particular version of making it. That requires a restructuring mentally. Now you got to go in there and you got to do the psycho-cybernetics work, and you have to change the settings to make sure that they account for this. Or else what will happen, if you can make all the money in the world, but if your settings don't allow for you to be a person who has that money, you'll spend it as soon as you make it. So you go in and you change the settings. You look at the moon, what is hidden. What are your hidden thoughts about work? What are your hidden thoughts about you in relation to work and what you are allowed to earn? And you change it. You change them to settings of great success. There is no ceiling to what you can earn. There is no ceiling to how far up you can go, how high you can go. You change your settings because they help you keep calm and focused. Okay, this is also the time. If you want something, ask for it now. It's very likely that you'll get it. Not only are you informed, but you're also persuasive. You're attractive. You're feeling good. You're on your game. There's very few people that can resist that. Use it to your advantage. Do not squander this on something or someone that is not worthy. Use this energy to secure the next 6 months and your future. Use this energy to get involved with something that really, really interests you, while also crushing it in whatever you happen to be doing right now. Now, for those of you who are having a deep impulse to travel, if we're just going off the cards and not the astrology at all, then I would say that next trip you take is really important. That next trip you take, it's a big one. It takes you across the world, and it changes you. And it removes finally from you a sense of doubt, a fear when it comes to love. Will I ever be loved? Can I be loved? Will it ever be real? Here it talks of something being realized. Not quite yet, somewhere between now and Scorpio season, which makes sense because Jupiter is retrograde. At the end of July until October. Something is understood, and that fear of being alone is finally alleviated. That question, am I lovable? Will I be loved again? That question is answered. And it is answered in a way that you know that the response is just for you. It's answered in such a specific way. So no need to despair, even if you are freaking out a little bit right now. The only way you know how to learn is by stretching the boundaries. That's not a part of you that you can or should control. All right? Below you'll find a link to the website, ambercon.com. Through the website you can take a look at the extended, which I will do right now, where we go through and clarify each card. We also take a look at each sign and how they relate to you this month. There's also a link on the website for these gorgeous rings. This is the World and this is the Empress. If you would like a personal reading, there is a Cameo link below. And if you are interested in a daily horoscope, come on over to Instagram and join the Rev Fam. Love you. I'll see you in the extended right now.